Hello. Hi. So I am hoping, I'm trying just using my laptop this time. So I hope the voice, you can hear the voice. Okay, so if you can't, let me know. Hi, I'm Chiyu. I'm from arrowroot.com. If you're not quite sure why you're here, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube, this is for our meal prep challenge. This is a week 2, very quick walkover. So let me know if you can hear the voice. Hi, if you're here, just feel free to type in. We have maybe about 5 to 6 seconds of delay, just between when I talk and also when I see the message, but feel free to give me a thumbs up. Hi, Jennifer, good morning. Yay, thank you. So last week I tried using my DSLR, and the funny thing was I tried to go live in the group, but for some reason it went to my personal page. So I got a lot of thumbs up from my own friends, and they were surprised. They don't know why I was doing that. So I have no idea why Facebook would just jump me around. So I feel a little bit safer. Maybe this time I just go straight from my laptop. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you're doing for week 1. And today's week 2. I have a feeling that week 2 is even simpler than week 1, because it's just, if there's a simpler way to prepare, have a few meals ready for you during the week, why not, right? So, so Jen, if you're here, if you have any questions, feel free to just chip in, and then, I appreciate you showing up. Okay, so for this week, the menu I sent it out on past Wednesday, and also this morning, just in case people are going grocery shopping during the weekend. So we are doing a Chinese kung pao chicken, and there's also a non-spicy version. Just for some people, maybe you have small kids at home, you can't really make spicy food, or maybe you want to actually create a variety. So the first meal will be a spicy kung pao chicken, and maybe the second time when you do it will be a non-spicy one. And oh, okay, sure, Jen, I will reply back to you. Okay, so then the second meal we have, what do we have? Haha. Second meal we have the what's that? Oh, Sichuan dry fried green beans. So on the website, it's a very popular recipe, and I personally absolutely love it. And also based on the amount of picture people send me about, they're gorgeous. They're version of a Sichuan dry fried green bean using my recipes. I had a feeling that the people really enjoy this recipe, so I decided to put it here. So on the website, because this dish was meant for the green beans are the star of the dish, but for meal prep, I kind of adjust the quantity a little bit. So we add a little bit more protein, and there's a ground meat. So the ratio, and in terms of your cooking steps or durations, are slightly different, because I want to make sure you have enough protein for your meal, whether it's for dinner or for lunch. So just please make sure you check the quantity. And you can absolutely use ground pork. You can use ground turkey or chicken. I haven't used ground beef before, so I don't know about that. But if you are willing to give a try, let me know how that goes. Okay, and the third thing we have is a no prep meal. I always like to incorporate like one emergency meal that I just feel like, first of all, it helped me cut down my meal prep time, and then the second of all, it gives me some flexibility. So the no prep meal this time, we're doing Chinese egg draw soup. It's a very simple recipe, and usually the egg draw soup, when you go out to eat, it's filled with a lot of cornstarch, and it doesn't really have any, it has eggs inside, but it's not enough for like a more substantial meal. So in my egg draw soup recipe, I actually added also a little bit ground meat, and to go along with some very simple salad. So that would be a little bit lighter dinner. But so if you are very hungry, for example, you come back home from work that day, I would recommend you try the meal 1 and 2. But if you feel like, hey, I'm kind of okay today, I want something quick and a little bit lighter, but not it will fill me up, but it's gonna make me super stuffed. And then I think that hearty Chinese extra soup would be a good way to go. Yes, and there are several ways of making a draw soup to make the most fluffy eggs. But I learned that from my mom. Just from watching her do it, and it works for me every single time. So that's just wait. I will share that with you guys when the week comes. All right, so to quickly walk over. All right, so the first thing this time we are gonna do to prep the chicken, the Chinese combat chicken, and I use chicken thigh and also chicken breast. Feel free to use a combination or just one type, but I like to mix them both. So you can see I did that last night. I chopped them into small, tiny cubes because when you go to a real Chinese restaurant, they chop them to the tiny cubes. So this way, when you marinate them, the flavor will distribute more evenly. And when you stir fry them, it just become tiny cubes, and then they kind of get juicy and golden crunchy. It's really delicious. So it's very easy. Just chop them up, skinless, boneless. All right. And you can see I pack them flat. I mentioned that several times. So if this is not your first time doing it, you're probably pretty familiar with how I do things. I pack them flat. I store them flat in the freezer. So that way you just need to defrost, make sure to defrost a night before. And since they are packed flat, even, so it's very easy to, when you defrost them, you won't be like, in the middle. If it's super thick, it still be like frozen. So this way, it's just easier for me to do a quick weeknight meal. All right, and then another thing is aromatics. You probably will know that I like to use aromatics. Back home cooking, we don't really have any specific black sauce, white sauce, or even red sauce. I don't know if that exists. We don't really have that. So the first time when I came to this country, the waitress asked me, which sauce do you want to go with your maybe chicken and broccoli? I was like, what are you talking about? I've never heard of that. But anyway, so what I figure is using aromatics are extremely important, especially when you try to eat a more clean eating like Paleo, Whole30, or keto. Use less sauce. That means actually less starch. So you control exactly the type of carb how much carb you actually want to add into. And so aromatics are very, very important. So for the combat chicken, so see, I chopped my aromatics here. I call this kind of a lazy person style. I learned that from, a lot of like those Blue Apron, and when they ship things for you, and then they have aromatics completely chopped already. But if I show this to my mom will say, "Gee, you need to work a little bit harder," because it depends on, it's the balance. To me, it's like if I don't have time, when I come back from work, I want to have everything ready. So I just, just store that into the skillet. But the not so great part about this is since you chopped everything in advance, so they are a little bit more, has more moisture content inside. So it's, depends on you, but for the purpose of this meal prep, is to help people relieve some pressure, during the weekend and during the weekday. So I pack everything together. Okay, so there are a few ingredients that in the meal prep PDF, I provided the links. So if you want to get them, you can find them on Amazon. If you can find them from your local grocery store, or if you don't have like an Asian grocery market nearby. The first thing is the Chinese dry red chili peppers. You can get that from Chinese grocery store. It was a huge bag, and then for a very, very reasonable price. They are, when I use them, I never actually chop them. So that's the reason the seeds are just contained inside. So they are more for like a little bit more fragrant, to add fragrance to your oil. Not exactly would be spicy, and just some red color, and then makes a dish look more interesting. So you will find that I use that for gomba chicken, and also the Chinese dry fried green bean dish. And the second thing for the Chinese gomba chicken, I use Sichuan flour peppercorns. You see, they're kind of like, some people tell me they are not exactly peppercorns. So they have a very floury citrus flavor. And then when you eat them, it has a little bit numbing effect. in the mouthfeel. And if you love Chinese food, if you love Sichuan cuisine, I highly recommend you get them. You know, all you need is just a few little, even just a few teaspoons, it will make a difference. And same thing, you know, when I put it together, you will see you actually put them with a dry chili and also the flower peppercorn together. And so it would just give them oil, a very nice fragrance. And before you put the meat inside, that makes the whole thing very, very different. If you can't find this, there's an alternative workaround. It's not going to be completely the same. But if you follow the instruction, I'll show you that it's a combination of, if you use a little bit of a lemon zest with a little bit black pepper, but the timing in terms of when you put in to the dish will be different than when you just use the real peppercorns. Okay, so just please pay attention to the instruction if you want to get a slightly similar taste of Sichuan flower peppercorn. All right, so a few other things for the next dish, see, very, very quick, is the Sichuan dry fried green beans. And this time we use ground meat. And there's no seasoning you actually need for the ground meat. And so it's very, very simple. Just make sure you keep them fresh. For me, raw meat, regardless which type, whether it's ground meat or chicken thigh, chicken breast, I like to use them within 2 days. If I bought them fresh from the market, you know. If not, say if you won't use them until the 3rd or even 4th days, I prefer to store them in the freezer, just so that they don't become watery and it kind of start smelling a little bit funny to me. So that's that. And then for green beans, I took a little bit shortcut. You can absolutely just use the regular green beans. If you want to save time during the weekday, so you can trim them. But this is a French petite green beans. So I guess if I want, I can trim them a little bit. But if you're not super picky about it, I think this is absolutely okay. Cool. Very, very simple. And so the only time you need to spend is also chopping the aromatics. Okay. All right. And to add more veggie, this time I added a triple green kale salad using lacinato kale. So this is my lacinato kale. I found that it takes a lot of time for me to prep lacinato kale during the weekday. So if I'm going to put together a main dish with protein, and then another dish come with kale salad, you know, so I found this way. So I took the skin off and I rinsed them, I pat them dry, and I sliced them. And then I pat them dry again. And then, so this is one side, I will put a little bit paper towel over it. And then after that, I will put another paper towel here and try to squeeze out the air. And I'm gonna put them in the veggie crisp drawer. If you have time to prepare this, then this is not something you actually need to do in advance, but I just personally found it very helpful for me. If I do that in advance, it's more likely I will actually prepare this dish during the weekday. And that's actually pretty much it. Is that a little bit crazy? This is a chopped green scallion. So you probably found out that when I put the recipe, when I do chopped scallions, the white part of the scallion is usually for stir-fry use. The green part of the scallion, strictly speaking, usually people use it for decoration or for just, you know, you quickly mix in after everything sauté is done. So I like to just chop them and store them aside. Okay, so that's pretty much that. Very, very simple. I hope I'm not like too simple. It's just something very practical. Oh, 2 little things you probably want to have for the Sichuan dry fried green beans. So this is a N2 harissa chili paste. This is not a sponsored thing. It's just sometimes I shopping, I found something new and then give it a try. And this, I found it pretty helpful when you substitute this for Chinese like chili bean sauce. This is not made from bean, it's just harissa chili paste, and this is absolutely paleo and also Whole30 compliant. This is fantastic. A little bit spicy, but very good. If you can't find it, just use tomato paste. Cool? Awesome. So let me see if there's any question here. So if Jen is still around, okay, Jen, so I will where you can sign up. Send me your email address because we're in week 2 already. So just email me hello@aromatics.com, so I can email you the PDF. Okay, and yes, Asia soup is definitely a comfort food, and the weather started getting a little bit cooler, so I think it would be perfect. And have I ever used arrowroot powder instead of cornstarch? Yes, definitely. Even this week when I put the chicken together, I actually added a little bit of arrowroot powder. Yeah, I don't really use cornstarch, and it's just not something I like to do. I might use sweet potato starch. This is something if you go to Asian market, especially Japanese grocery store, they have a lot of sweet potato starch because when they do tempura, this is part of the starch powder they use, and then usually they grind into very, very fine. So the texture is actually really, really good. But it's not that easy to find sometimes. So arrowroot is great. If you can find arrowroot, people have told me you can use tapioca starch. But usually I use arrowroot. Yeah, that's pretty much that. So let me know if you have any other questions. It's a super quick walkover. Oh, one little thing, if you're still watching, when you chop your aromatics, I prefer to use just knife and then you hand chop them, because if you use a food processor, what happens is that it might grind them too fast and then too fine. It becomes very watery. And when you especially put together Asian dishes, sachet dishes, you want the flavor to concentrate flavor. You want the meat to create a golden, crispy seal, right? So it'll be more yummy instead of watery, like your sauce would be diluted as well. So I highly recommend you to spend a little bit of time to chop them. But if you have to use a little food chopper, just make sure you only toss them not too many times, so otherwise they will become very, very watery. It's just your food will be less tasty. Okay, and and then some people email me, ask me what type of a skillet I like to use. Throughout the year cooking, I learned to love stainless steel a lot. Yeah, oh, thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate it. Happy Saturday morning. Speaking of stainless steel skillet, I don't really any particular brand I'd like to use, whichever use well for you. I'd like to use at least a 10-inch to 12-inch skillet, and believe it or not, I still have one that I just bought from IKEA, 365 gram, because my husband cooks as well. He works from home, and he's not that great in the kitchen. So if I use something like a very expensive cookware, I'm afraid he might destroy my cookware. So I always have a slightly better one I use for filming use, and then a slightly just everyday one that, if he messes things up, I won't be too sad about it. But one thing, how to make a stainless steel skillet non-stick. I completely discovered this by accident, and you can also Google it, is you have to preheat the skillet really well without the oil. So I like to preheat the skillet, probably over medium heat or even more medium to low heat, and give it a few minutes, probably between 3 to 5 minutes, when you can feel the skillet, the temperature, when you kind of put your hand over, you can feel the heat. And that's the time you put in cooking oil, give a quick swirl, make sure it distributed evenly, and then you put the food in there. So for example, we marinated chicken, right? Or maybe you're just frying an egg. Preheat the skillet really well. Put in the oil, and then put in the meat or the egg, and then guess what? Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. Don't touch it. Just wait. Be a little bit more patient. Wait until you see the bottom layer kind of getting a little bit golden, crispy color. And that's the time you kind of try to move them around, flip them to cook the flip side. That had worked for me every single time. I used to get so frustrated that my eggs just completely were messy, and I feel like I wasted my ingredient, and everything just looks so ugly. But ever since I started using this method, it had worked for me every single time. Of course, compared to a non-stick skillet, you're gonna still have something left in there, after the entire dish put together. But it has helped me tremendously. So try that, and then if you ever want to give stainless steel skillet a try, it has worked for me every single time. Cool. All right, so I don't want to take too much of your time. I went on for 20 minutes. So if you have any questions, you can just type in, and then let me know if you want me to hop on one more time during the week, and maybe we can chat a little bit further if you have any questions. And this meal prep is aimed for something super, super simple. So I figure you have some meals ready is better than nothing. You have to figure out what to eat every single time. But in my meal planning program, I go into greater depth to show you how to use common ingredients to create varieties. So later on, you guys will have a chance to learn more. The course will be open for enrollment for those of you who want a little bit more structured program. All right, so I hope this quick little demo answers some questions, and then I will see you. And if not on Instagram, then also here, and also throughout the week. And have a good weekend. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.